Now, let's step into the confirmation points and countermeasures. We will look into the confirmation points and control measures of each unit. Now we check motor and control panel. Most of the electrical power consumed in a water supply facility is used for pumps. If the pump motor or control panel fails, the pump may stop, causing the entire water supply system to stop functioning. To identify electrical equipment problems, it is necessary to check the current, voltage, and insulation resistance values at the control panel. It is also important to check the motor for abnormal vibration and noise. Next, the confirmation points for each electrical parameter are explained. With current value, it can help identify the possible cause of a failure. If the current exceeds the rated value, the pump impeller may be clogged or worn. As countermeasure, clean the pump and remove any clogging to reduce the load and eliminate overload causes at the suction side and in the motor. If any components such as the electromagnetic switch, auxiliary relay, or timer motor are burnt out, replace them immediately. Also ensure that any water in the circuit is removed and the circuit is kept dry. If the current is lower than the rated value, the pump may be airbound or the impeller may be damaged. So, in this case, remove any air trapped in the pipes and replace the impeller if it is damaged. Next, voltage is explained. In the case of overvoltage, it generally means more than 440 volt for three-phase systems and more than 250 volt for single-phase. If this condition continues, the pump efficiency may decrease and excessive current may flow, resulting in overcurrent. On the other hand, if the voltage is too lower than rated value, the motor draws more current to maintain the required torque, which may also cause overcurrent. For three-phase systems, if the voltage difference between phases exceeds plus-minus 10%, there may be a problem with the transformer, cables, or motor connections. These problems may also be caused by an unstable power supply from the utility company. Insulation resistance. Poor insulation resistance increases the risk of electric shock and fire in electrical equipment. Insulation failure is a condition in which electrical separation is insufficient, making it prone to leakage current and short circuits. The resistance should be less than 1 mega ohm. The measurement method is to refer Fig 10-10. Noise and vibration from motor. The causes of noise and vibration from motor are follows. Unbalanced rotating parts, bearing wear or failure, improper installation, resonance phenomenon. Next, voltage is explained. In the case of overvoltage, it generally means more than 440 volt for three-phase systems and more than 250 volt for single-phase. If this condition continues, the pump efficiency may decrease and excessive current may flow, resulting in overcurrent. As countermeasure, check the insulation. When its failure is detected, ensure proper insulation of the equipment and contact the electricity provider to have the transformer inspected. On the other hand, if the voltage is too lower than rated value, the motor draws more current to maintain the required torque, which may also cause overcurrent. As countermeasure, clean the pump and remove any clogging to reduce the load. If the voltage continues to exceed the acceptable range, contact the electricity provider to have the transformer inspected. For three-phase systems, If the voltage difference between phases exceeds plus minus 10%, there may be a problem with the transformer, cables, or motor connections. These problems may also be caused by an unstable power supply from the utility company. For this case, you should ensure that all connections are secure and that there is no damage to the lines. Insulation resistance. Poor insulation resistance increases the risk of electric shock and fire in electrical equipment. Insulation failure is a condition in which electrical separation is insufficient, making it prone to leakage current and short circuits. The resistance should be less than 1 mega ohm. The measurement method is to refer Fig 10-10. Noise and vibration from motor. The causes of noise and vibration from motor are follows. Unbalanced rotating parts. Bearing wear or failure. Improper installation. Resonance phenomenon. Insulation resistance measures how well electrical equipment prevents current from leaking outside its intended path. When it deteriorates, leakage current and short circuits become more likely, increasing the risk of electric shock and fire. A reading of less than 1 mega ohm is considered insulation failure. If insulation has deteriorated, replace or clean the insulation materials as necessary. Next, abnormal noise and vibration from a motor indicate a potential problem. Common causes include unbalanced rotating parts, bearing wear or failure, improper installation, and resonance. Any abnormality should be inspected promptly, as it may lead to further mechanical damage or motor failure. As the countermeasure, remove any clogging and tighten the nuts. If the issue persists, replace or overhaul the pump. When a pump fails, the first step is to identify what triggered the failure. There are 3 key confirmation points to check. The first confirmation point is thermal relay activation and breaker trip. If the thermal relay is activated or the main breaker is tripped, the most likely cause is overload. The motor is drawing more current than its rated value due to clogging, excessive friction, or abnormal operating conditions. The second, insulation deterioration, wet circuit, loose cable connection. Deteriorated insulation, water ingress, or loose cable connections can reduce insulation resistance, causing short circuits or current leakage, which may result in burnout of the electromagnetic switch or relay. The third, 3E relay activation. The 3E relay monitors 3 abnormalities such as missing phase, reverse phase, and undervoltage. Automatically shuts down the system when any of these are detected, protecting the motor and pump from further damage. The action and countermeasures for pump failure are explained in here. Regarding thermal relay activation or breaker trip. When the thermal relay is activated or the breaker is tripped, remove any clogging or foreign matter in the impeller or motor to eliminate the overload condition. Moving on to insulation deterioration, wet circuit, loose cable connection. Replace any damaged insulation materials, keep the circuit dry, and ensure all cables are properly organized and secured to prevent short circuits or current leakage. Finally, 3E relay activation. The appropriate countermeasure depends on which abnormality triggered the 3E relay. When missing phase occurs, check all connections and terminals and replace any faulty components as required. When reverse phase occurs, verify the wiring sequence of the 3-phase power supply, R, S, and T. Then correct if necessary. When undervoltage occurs, contact the Power Supply Authority for inspection and check whether the wiring cross-sectional area is appropriate for the load. Now we check generator. A generator serves as a backup power source when the commercial power supply fails, meaning any generator failure risks a complete shutdown of the water supply service. For routine maintenance, it is necessary to monitor the condition of the battery, fuel filter, air filter, lubricant injection records, abnormal noise and vibration, engine power current and voltage, rotation condition, and electricity efficiency. In the event of a failure, particular attention should be given to vibration, current and voltage, temperature, and the condition of the stator winding. Now, I would like to explain the confirmation points and control measures for the daily inspection of generators. This slide introduces 6 important items that should be checked every day to ensure safe and stable generator operation. First, battery voltage. If the battery voltage is not equivalent to the rated value, it may indicate battery deterioration or insufficient battery liquid. If this condition is ignored, it can lead to starting failure or sudden shutdown. Therefore, the voltage should be checked regularly, and maintenance such as refilling or replacement should be carried out when necessary. Second, the condition of the fuel, air, and lubricant filters. If the filters are clogged, fuel efficiency decreases and generator power output is reduced. It can also increase fuel consumption and engine load. Therefore, filters should be inspected regularly and cleaned or replaced as necessary. Third, sounds and vibrations. Check for unusual sounds such as excessively high or low-pitched noises, impact sounds, or abnormal vibration. These symptoms may indicate combustion problems, worn parts, or loose bolts. If abnormal conditions are ignored, they may result in serious equipment damage. Prompt inspection is important whenever abnormalities are detected. Fourth, lubricant injection records. If lubricant replenishment becomes more frequent than normal, it may indicate oil leakage or internal wear. Insufficient lubrication can cause part abrasion or burnout. Therefore, not only the oil level but also the replenishment history should be carefully monitored. Fifth, engine power. If the current or voltage is lower than the rated value, the generator may not be producing sufficient power. This condition can lead to motor starting problems and equipment malfunction. Normally, voltage and current should be maintained within plus or minus 10% of the rated value. Sixth, rotation condition. If unstable rotation is confirmed, voltage and power frequency fluctuations will increase. This can cause unstable power supply and reduced output performance. In such cases, the fuel system and gunner mechanism should be inspected. These are the key daily inspection points for generator operation. Performing daily inspections properly helps prevent failures, extend equipment life, and maintain safe operation. Early detection of small abnormalities is the first step in preventing major accidents. Next, I will explain the action and countermeasures corresponding to the confirmation points introduced in the previous slide. This slide focuses on how operators should respond when abnormalities are found during daily inspection. First, battery under voltage. If the battery voltage is lower than the rated value, the battery liquid should be refilled or the battery should be replaced if necessary. Low battery voltage may cause starting failure or unstable generator operation. Therefore, regular inspection and maintenance are essential. Second, clogging in the fuel, air, and lubricant filters. When filters become clogged, engine efficiency decreases and power output is reduced. To prevent this problem, filters should be cleaned regularly. As a standard practice, filter cleaning should be carried out at least once a year or more frequently in dusty environments. Third, abnormal sounds and vibration. If unusual sounds or excessive vibration are detected, the lubricant filter should be cleaned and the lubricant should be refilled. Abnormal vibration may also indicate worn components or insufficient lubrication. Early corrective action helps prevent serious mechanical damage. Fourth, lack of lubricant. If lubricant shortage is confirmed, replenish the lubricant immediately. Regular lubricant replacement is recommended at least once a year to maintain proper engine protection and performance. Proper lubrication reduces friction, overheating, and part wear. Fifth, low engine power. If engine power becomes lower than normal, first check and remove any clogging in the air filter and confirm that sufficient fuel is supplied. Insufficient air intake or fuel supply can directly reduce combustion efficiency and generator output. Sixth, unstable rotation. If unstable rotation occurs, inspect the air filter for clogging and confirm proper fuel supply. Unstable engine rotation can cause voltage and frequency fluctuations, leading to unstable power supply. Prompt corrective action is important to maintain stable generator performance. Next is the confirmation points related to generator failure. Here, we focus on identifying abnormal conditions that may indicate serious generator problems. Early detection is very important to prevent major equipment damage and unexpected shutdown. First, vibration. If abnormal vibration or unusual noise is observed, it may indicate parts abrasion, filter clogging, or loosened bolts and nuts. Operators should carefully monitor vibration levels and unusual sounds during operation. Ignoring these symptoms may result in severe mechanical damage. Second, engine power. If the generator current or voltage is lower than the rated value, this may indicate filter clogging or deterioration of internal components. Insufficient engine power can lead to unstable operation and failure of connected equipment. Therefore, electrical output should be checked regularly. Third, heat. If the generator temperature exceeds normal operating temperature or rated temperature, overheating may be occurring. This condition may be caused by parts abrasion or cooling system failure. Overheating can seriously damage the engine and generator components. Operators should immediately inspect the cooling system and lubrication condition when excessive heat is detected. Fourth, voltage condition. Overvoltage, undervoltage, unstable voltage, or voltage imbalance are signs of possible generator failure. One major cause is burned stator winding. When winding damage occurs, stable power generation becomes impossible and serious electrical failure may follow. The images shown here are examples of stator winding burnout. This slide describes the appropriate responses that should be taken after abnormal conditions are identified during inspection. Proper corrective action is important to prevent equipment damage and maintain safe operation. First, abnormal vibration. If abnormal vibration is detected, operators should tighten all connections and inspect for loosened bolts or nuts. In addition, the lubricant filter should be cleaned and the lubricant should be refilled if necessary. These actions help reduce mechanical stress and prevent further equipment damage. Second, insufficient engine power. If engine power is insufficient, operators should first remove any air filter clogging and confirm that enough fuel is supplied. The gunner should also be checked because gunner malfunction may cause unstable engine speed and low power output. Proper fuel and air supply are essential for stable generator performance. Third, overheating. If overheating occurs, the cooling system should be inspected immediately. Operators should also check the lubricant condition because insufficient or degraded lubricant can increase engine temperature. Continuous overheating may cause serious damage to engine components and generator parts. Fourth, voltage abnormality. When abnormal voltage conditions such as overvoltage, undervoltage, or unstable voltage are detected, all electrical connections and terminals should be checked. In addition, the stator winding should be inspected for possible damage or burnout. Electrical abnormalities should never be ignored because they may lead to major generator failure. Finally, if the failure cannot be resolved through routine inspection and maintenance, operators should contact an expert technician. Generator repair often requires advanced mechanical and electrical knowledge beyond normal operation and maintenance scope. Now we check conservation of electricity consumption. Now let's move on to conservation of electricity consumption. Electricity costs account for a large portion of O&M expenditures in water supply facilities. The key risk here is that if a pump is oversized relative to actual demand, it will continuously waste energy. This is one of the most common yet overlooked problems in the field. Similarly, pumps operating at a fixed speed regardless of demand consume unnecessary power, leading to excessive energy consumption and higher operational costs. To assess whether your pump is consuming more energy than necessary, you will need to collect the following data: flow rate, total head pressure at both the suction and delivery sides, electrical current, voltage and kWh consumption, the pump performance curve, the nighttime water demand pattern, and the condition of the pipes including leakage level. Let's look at the confirmation points, the signs that tell us whether energy is being wasted. For intake and transmission pumps, which operate at a constant flow rate and head, the key indicator is pump efficiency. First, calculate the pump efficiency from the measured flow rate and pressure values. Then compare the measured values against the designed values. If the pump efficiency is below 60%, or if the measured flow rate or pressure is higher than the designed value, this is a strong sign that the pump is over capacity and is consuming more energy than necessary. For direct water distribution pumps, the situation is different because water demand fluctuates throughout the day. Water demand is typically high in the morning and evening and drops significantly during the night. If the pump is running at a constant speed regardless of this fluctuation, it will operate at low efficiency during off-peak hours and waste energy. Specifically, if kWh consumption does not decrease even when demand is low, that is a clear sign the pump is not adjusting to demand. Additionally, if there is a large gap between supply capacity and nighttime demand, and the pipe network has low leakage and little elevation difference, these are favorable conditions where further energy-saving measures can be effective. There are two main countermeasures for reducing energy consumption: downsizing the impeller and installing an inverter. The first option is downsizing the impeller. By reducing the impeller diameter, you can reduce the head and power output to match actual demand without replacing the pump itself. For example, downsizing from 9.25 inches to 8.00 inches at a flow rate of 750 gallons per minute keeps the flow rate the same, but reduces head from 320 feet to 220 feet, and cuts power from 75 horsepower to 50 horsepower. It's saving of approximately 33% energy. This is a straightforward and cost-effective approach. However, always verify that the required head is still met after downsizing to avoid insufficient water pressure at the delivery point. The second option is installing an inverter. An inverter controls the pump motor speed by adjusting the frequency of the power supply. This is highly effective because power consumption is proportional to the cube of the rotation speed, meaning even a small reduction in speed leads to a large reduction in energy use. For example, reducing speed by just 20% cuts power consumption to approximately 51% of the original. In practice, a remote pressure sensor is connected to the inverter. When pipe pressure drops, the inverter automatically increases the motor frequency to raise pump speed. When pipe pressure rises, it decreases the frequency to lower pump speed. This feedback control ensures the pump always operates at exactly the right level for the current demand. Inverter installation is particularly effective when there is a large gap between supply and demand at night, when pipe leakage is low, and when there is little elevation difference across the service area. Now, we go on the troubleshooting and inspection. Even with proper understanding of each electric facility, problems will occur in daily operation. This table shows how to use all the knowledge explained earlier when an actual problem appears in the electricity. Up to this point, each unit process was explained separately together with basic theory, confirmation points and control measures. And these points are converted in one table of troubleshooting, so that you can identify what caused the problem and the necessary actions to taken from the phenomenon you observed in electricity. How to read the table? This table is utilized when you see some specific phenomenon, so, first, check the phenomenon column to see what phenomenon is identified as a problem. Then consider the possible causes. Understand the risk if the problem continues. Finally, select the correct countermeasure. For example, if you observe loose wiring connection at control panel, it could be caused by vibration. And the troubleshooting table guides you for the necessary action to take. In this case, you have to tighten the parts, bolts, nuts and organize wiring. This is how what we learned in the confirmation points and necessary actions can be quickly applied by referring to troubleshooting table. This is an inspection sheet introduced in the manual. An inspection sheet shows what data should be recorded routinely for the purpose of appropriate operation and maintenance. Each item listed here corresponds directly to the confirmation points explained earlier. By checking these regularly, you can detect abnormalities before they become serious enough, or identify the problem caused and will contribute to take quick actions for countermeasures. For your better comprehension and practical usage of the knowledge obtained from the manual, we are going to tackle with case study from now. Please imagine the situation where an operator turns on the pump switch, but the pump does not operate. What are the possible causes? Let's think the procedure to investigate this issue. In this situation, first you will think the possible causes. The pump impeller may possibly be clogged. If a water level sensor is installed, the pump will not operate when the suction side water level is low. Likewise, the pump will not operate when the storage tank is full. The thermal relay may have been activated and stopped the operation. It is also possible that the breaker has tripped and cut off the power supply. In addition, the 3E relay may have been activated, the push button may be faulty, or there may be a disconnection in the main circuit or control circuit wiring. As shown above, please list all possible causes that could be considered. Next, investigate the possible causes listed and take the necessary corrective actions as required. The following are just some examples. As mentioned at the beginning, handling electricity involves danger and can be life-threatening. What you have learned in this lecture will be very useful when giving advice to the municipality regarding facility maintenance and management. However, please remember that actual electrical work must always be carried out by trained and experienced professionals. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video will help you understand the manual better.